all to take it.
That's a winner!
Good evening, John Clemson. John and my name's David Sharp, live from DraftKings at Casino Queen on this beautiful Thursday evening here in St. Louis. John, we had a great week. We got to talk to UFC fighter Evan Elder on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and I know we did that live, but for those of you that didn't get a chance to catch his interview, we really wanted to play it again for you this evening. But after this interview, we're going to get a call from Noah Van Bree, who was on a lot last year and did the NCAA double tournament every day with me last year. And he's going to call in tonight, and you guys can get a chance to go over what's going to happen Selection Sunday and next week. Boy, we got a lot to cover in the next
Yeah,
3 weeks, right?
absolutely. One of the best times of the year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
absolutely.
for somebody who's just a fan from the outside of college basketball, it's one of the most fun times of the year to gamble.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all locked up. Right?
What I like about it is I get to wake up 11 a.m., David. 11 a.m., first game, bam, charge right into it.
Yeah.
The MAC game this morning, Miami, Ohio, was playing Toledo. Toledo blitzed them, of course. So, yeah, I like it because you get to wake up and there's action.
Yeah. Action for 4 days straight, all day.
Absolutely.
Right? How late do those games go? They go into the evening pretty late.
You got some West Coast games, yeah.
Yeah.
You got some West Coast action, so.
Well, I know Noah told me, and we're going to talk about it a little later, he's going to be in Denver next Friday and join us on 590 The Fan next Friday to give us a live update from one of the spots that they have the live action from. So that's going to be exciting. We're going to get an on-site interview with Noah Van Bree. So he'll be joining us here in our second hour this evening. So I'm going to do my best to get this rolling here. And if it's not rolling, I guess John and I will continue.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can see this because that was a great interview with them.
Yeah, so let's get this up and see if we can found at the Irish Gypsy. We're at the Irish Gypsy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
as always.
This is so exciting. I'm telling you because I couldn't wait to have you back.
Oh,
since the last time we had you, and you had a little fight in between.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that in a little bit. We're going to have Evan for the next 45 minutes, an hour. I'm going to step away about halfway through and let Clemson John get some questions in for you. We only have enough space for three of us, so we're going to make do with it. Mike, I want to start with you a little bit with your handicapping Saturday night. I want to get you guys to go over the card from this past Saturday night, and then we'll get into Evan's fight after we talk about.
Oh, you know what? You surprised me a little bit. Give me 1 second while I pull up what the picks were.
Mike, by the way, Evan, Mike is spot on.
Oh yeah,
he's got his game down.
He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
he's super knowledgeable.
I don't know how we found him, but I do know how we found him. But I'm just saying it was like you talk about a diamond in the rough when it comes to his knowledge.
He's very accurate. He knows what he's talking about. I could tell last time we were here talking about the fights and everything. I was like, man, this guy's educated. He knows his stuff for sure.
I'm a little deep in the game. I like to think I'm a little bit deep in the game, but one thing that I'm not super into, but I'm working on it, Evan, and I got to be careful. But the whole gambling side of things, I'm not traditionally a betting man, but they're having their influence on me one way or the other.
Well, I want to tell you this, though, Evan. He was on last week with us, and he says I got to get my bets in, and my eyes just lit up. And I saw him at the kiosk putting a little wager in.
Right.
I think we got him.
First time.
Money Micah.
First time.
Money Micah.
Yeah,
right.
Money Micah.
I threw in a big parlay. Careful with that. That's not those two words do not typically go together. But it's been fun. I mean, it's for me. The enjoyment is just evaluating the different fighters, the different styles. As you know, styles make fights, and as a result, it also makes betting lines. And so it's been fun for me to kind of put on my creative hat and think through analytically what the different types of ways in which you can gamble. And I'm really learning more about the gambling side of things. The fight component itself is just, for me, it's always been a huge interest, a huge fascination, and I love it. So mostly because we get to sit down and hang out with folks like yourself. So
Yeah,
thank you for coming.
absolutely. I'll tell you a little bit about the gambling side of things. A lot of all these major sports. I mean, if gambling didn't exist, I don't know. I'm not saying it wouldn't be popular, but the gambling side adds to the popularity of things. And for me, my whole life, a little money on a sport, whatever it is, it makes me more interested in it.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
me, right? And obviously, they build these big casinos and big sports books for a reason. I'm not the only one that has that feeling,
Yep.
right?
He loves that sweat.
I
He
do.
loves that
I
sweat.
think you're starting to like the sweat.
I'm sure.
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
sure
lie.
It definitely builds some interest and get you a little bit more invested, a little bit more
Well,
involved.
especially when you do some sort of parlay that it's like, I think it was I bet $20 to win like $2,000.
Yeah.
So when it throws stuff like that, you're like, okay. Now,
This
granted,
past- this-
it
this
didn't
UFC
it did
fight?
not hit.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Thank you, Valentina Shevchenko. She was the one who threw me off. 'cause-
Really?
Well,
That's
who
got-
would have bet against her,
I was
right?
gonna say that was almost like probably a guaranteed.
And that was so Dave, let's talk about that. A minus 800
Okay.
Yeah.
losing the fight,
Alexa
Yeah.
Grasso.
Alexa Grasso. And I don't know if you watched, but Valentina winning the fight, she throws a spinning back elbow,
Yep.
gets caught.
Spinning back kick, I believe.
Was it a back kick?
Yeah. You know what's funny is because me and some of my buddies were just talking about they're like, man, I feel like I was just watching with a group of my friends, and none of them are fighters; they're just fans. But they were like, man, I feel like that spinning back kick, you could generate so much power and torque. Like, why don't more people throw that? And literally, like a fight or two later, Valentina throws it and gives up position because it gave up her back.
Yep.
And I was like, that is why that doesn't happen as much, because it's a higher risk technique. You're risking anytime you're turning your back to your opponent, even if it's for a quick second, it's
very
high
dangerous.
risk. Yeah.
Very dangerous, and credit to Grasso. I mean, she capitalized on the
absolutely.
situation.
Yeah,
I mean, she was
beautifully,
in a tough spot. The fight wasn't looking great for her. She gets one opportunity, and credit for her to close out the night. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
absolutely.
and that's it. All of a sudden, she's champion and really takes down, I think, one of the best female fighters in probably all of UFC
Dude, if
history.
not the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Amanda Nunes as I think she's highly touted as the most decorated women's fighter ever. But I mean, Valentina Shevchenko has got to be the close second, right? I mean,
She is an absolute killer.
Other than I know there Ronda Rousey, but dude, to me honestly, there's no one better technically than Valentina Shevchenko.
She's complete everywhere. I mean, she's
Everywhere.
so hard to beat everywhere.
Not just complete, not just decent or anything like that. She's like world class everywhere.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. All right, so Buster Douglas, 40-1, right? That'll never happen again. Nobody will ever get those odds again on a boxing match. Explain to me a minus 800 in the UFC. What's the comparison of minus 800? Would that compare to a 40-1 in boxing?
Boy.
I mean, comparison meaning like you're not getting 40-1 on anybody ever again. My point is that's a huge line, minus 800.
It would
right?
be Michigan losing to App State.
Okay.
Similar. Or one of the crazier, wilder comeback blowouts, or not blowouts, excuse me, but comeback stories that you see in other sports where it's like, how did this happen? It's a monumental moment. It's like something that program will write down in history. Like, people remember where they were when Appalachian State beat Michigan. That type of level of overcoming adversity when it comes to beating someone like Valentina Shevchenko.
I'll tell you what, though, I agree completely. But I think I was very impressed and surprised by Alexa Grasso throughout the whole fight.
Absolutely.
I was most impressed by her boxing. I was really not expecting her striking to be at the level that it was at. So, though, obviously it was an amazing victory with her being such a big underdog, but I was very impressed with her throughout the whole fight.
She was solid.
Yeah,
She was absolutely
and
solid.
then that's because of how good Valentina is. Yeah,
Correct.
I was just so impressed that she was doing so well.
Absolutely.
against-
Even to not just get ragdolled like
Yes,
so many of her.
exactly,
Yeah. They always say, and they said it about Habib, but I think the expression was like back when Michael Jordan would play, it was like he was the only guy on the court. Well, typically when Shevchenko fights, she's the only person in the cage. Like
Yeah.
it's maulings, and so for her to hold her own, let alone get that incredible victory, hats off to her. Well done. Well done.
And
Fun fights.
I'm losing her name. Who was the lady that Shevchenko just fought before that? That they it was a very close fight.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm having a brain fart too.
Yeah, I
Hold
can't
on.
think of her name for some reason, but she also that was a very competitive fight. Arguably, a lot of people argued that she won, and uh, so we have seen Valentina now, 2 fights in a row where she's faced a lot of adversity, and then obviously in the last fight even, got caught.
So how does she come back? What do you see for her
Oh,
next fight?
I think Valentina Shevchenko is a real world champion, and you can even tell in like her post fight interview, she was already, constructive criticism, looking at it open, uh, with a world champion's mindset of
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get better from this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this sucks, but that's part of the game, and I will get better. And I believe her.
Yeah.
I really believe her. I think that this will fire her up to reach even new heights. And it sucks that sometimes we have to take a loss in order to do that. But I really think that she's gonna come back with a vengeance and be better than ever.
And I'm curious, like you see that a lot with fighters that go on that undefeated streak, and I should say, well, for reference, you've seen a lot throughout the UFC of a fighter that's been up and coming, that's then maybe won the belt, or they've gone on this crazy undefeated streak, or they seem unbeatable,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden you see a chink in the armor, they take a loss, then I feel like that's when you really see what type of fighter they are.
Absolutely.
Do they have that turning
Yep.
point, both mentally, physically? Are they still as invested? Because I do think some fighters view it as like almost a weight off of your back when you
Yeah.
when you finally get
Yeah.
that loss.
Absolutely.
And then I think also some fighters really shrivel, and I think mentally it's crippling to have an experience where you think that you're on top of the world and untouchable, then all of a sudden the guy touches you up, and you're
It's
maybe
kind of
not
hard
the
to
same
bounce
guy.
back.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I think that it definitely goes both ways. I think that it's a matter of the competitor that is handling the situation, and I really think that it can make or break a lot of people. Just like you were just saying, some people use it to their advantage, to let it fuel them and push them to reach new heights. But some people, mentally can't get over once being untouchable or unbeatable, and now losing, and don't ever really come back fully the same. But I think part of another reason of what happens is when you get somebody that seems unbeatable or untouchable and is just mauling everybody, and it seems to be a world beater. Whenever somebody exposes them, it kind of gives people more confidence, and lets them in, and reminds them that, oh, this is just another human too. This person
Yeah.
bleeds the same way that I do.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes away this almost like
Mystique,
godlike.
right?
Yes,
You saw that a lot with McGregor on his way up.
McGregor, and for me personally, I really think that with Islam, with the fight
Yeah.
against Volkanovski, I really thought of. I was so high on Islam, that Islam Makhachev, that I was like, man, I do not like to think of anybody as almost unbeatable, because everybody's beatable. Everybody's human. Everybody's bleeds the same, and but there's some outliers that are the best in the world
Right.
for a reason. And Islam Makhachev, man, was showing to me that I was like, I don't know who's going to beat this guy.
Yeah.
I really don't. And
Totally
but to see
agree.
Alexander Volkanovski, which in my opinion is one of my, is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. He maintained that ranking, even though they kind of wagered it or whatever. But he definitely proved in that fight, going up a weight class against the most dangerous guy. I think Islam Makhachev is probably the best fighter in all of the UFC, especially after the way that he handled Charles Oliveira. I really think that he proved that. And then for Alexander Volkanovski to step up and do what he did, to me, made me realize, oh yeah, he is beatable. Like he has, again, I think Islam's going to be the champion that he is, and he's going to come back better than ever. And who knows, he might go on another tear of like he's going to look unbeatable.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have that reminder of like he's a human.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, a couple things on that, Dave. I've mentioned it before. These Dagestani guys, they are just different, my friend. My quote in America is "Child, do you play with dog?" In Russia is "Child, do you play with bear?" And it's like it's true. These Dagestani guys are so scary. I mean, they are terrifying individuals. Now, there was a little controversy surrounding that event with Volkanovski and Makachev
With
around
the IV.
the IV. So can you talk us through a little bit, and
There we go.
specifically, I guess our listeners, but even I'm still confused a little bit about the IV rules and the weight cutting, and can you just give us sort of an understanding of what
So I myself,
we're not going to leave you alone about the weight cutting.
I myself am a little confused by the
Yeah,
IV rules. But anyways, actually, at my last fight, because it was immediately it was the next week. It was the week after the Perth card in
Right.
Australia. So USADA actually at the UFC fight at weigh-ins kind of got us all together and gave a rundown on like, hey, these are the rules.
Okay.
And it was truthfully, it was a little to me, it was still
Hairy-
really
little
confusing.
gray area?
Yeah, yeah. But essentially, they were saying that IVs are not illegal as long as you get them approved.
Okay.
And I think you don't even need to have them approved if it's under 100 cc's
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay.
Cc's, milliliters, I don't remember what
Yeah,
the unit
yeah.
of measurement is.
Mhm.
I don't ever use IVs, so but yeah, it's still a little bit of gray area. But I also think they were saying that Islam. I think the whole argument was like you could see where it looked like he had
An
been
injection mark.
pricked with a needle for
An
an
IV.
injection mark. But I think a lot of people were saying that it came out that he had actually gave blood, or got blood work done
Oh, okay.
for the fight,
Okay.
very close to the fight, and that might have been what that was. I'm not really sure.
It could,
I don't quite
that
remember.
to me could be anything. It's really
Yeah.
the conversation to me is more interesting about. It seemed like years back, Dave, for your reference, they banned IVs because guys were cutting so much weight, just knowing that I got a full day to recover and I can use IVs and all these other things to rehydrate.
Rehydrate. Yeah.
And I do think that if Islam's going to have one issue, it'll be the same issue that Habib had, and that's the
The weight
scale.
cut. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that was
he's
Habib's biggest
massive.
component.
He's massive.
Yes, he's so big. He's bigger than Habib. I mean, he's
Yeah.
taller. He's insanely
Much more
thick.
well built.
And so
Yeah.
for him to make that 155, you see these guys that are dying on the scales, and then
They take.
to
I mean, they
have
take it to extremes.
right.
It is. I mean, it sounds insane, and like to the casual fan, you might not understand or know. I mean, it's pretty absurd. It's pretty absurd what we do to
Elaborate.
make weight. Something. It's something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I actually had my best friend go with me to my fight, this last fight, and he was there helping me cut weight, with my other teammates and stuff. And he was like, "Dude, I cannot actually comprehend that all of you guys do this before you fight in a cage the following day."
Yeah.
And it's pretty ridiculous. It is. I'm very against weight cuts, but I do think it's unfortunately such a part of the game. It's so ingrained into the sport
It
that
absolutely is.
I really think it's going to be a hard way. It's going to be hard to find a way around it and make it better. I do have hopes that eventually we're going to find. I don't know whether it'll be kind of adopting maybe some sort of approach similar to what ONE FC has right now with the hydration. But I know there's still ways around that. But the I really think right now, man, the weight cuts are just brutal.
It's
just
insane.
it
It's
because
so much.
you really are. I mean, there's
just don't
there's a
get it.
lot of
I
people.
don't- I
There's a lot of people, and I would imagine somebody like Islam Makhachev. You're literally knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
Of, like your body is in such a severe state
That's
of
what I worry about.
dehydration,
Right?
and
Yeah,
I mean
well-
it's ridiculous. But with that being said, there is a science to it.
Absolutely.
And all of these guys, especially at the highest level, are doing it most likely as efficient as possible.
Monitored by the staff, and
Yes,
and
yeah.
the UFC is, and credit to them, have gotten really good at
Absolutely.
the
Yeah, yeah,
monitoring
yeah.
and making sure.
They do an amazing job.
And to some degree, there's just only so much you can do. It's always been a part of the sport. I mean, it's
Yep.
a really heavy part of the sport. You certainly don't ever want to see someone, have negative health effects, both short and long term. But I do think that in this situation, in that fight, I was watching Islam and I'm like, he looks drained. It looks as though, to me, as an outsider looking in, it looked as though the weight cut affected him, on top of the fact that he's fighting Volkanovski. But I
Yeah,
just felt like he looked
I
a little
do-
bit flat.
I do think that I would definitely think the weight cut will always play a factor, especially somebody massive like himself. He's got to cut a lot of weight, but I really think more than anything, your nerves the effect that it plays on your overall nervous system.
Yeah.
And I really think that that is what greatly diminishes your conditioning more than anything. So your ability to stay calm and relaxed is so unbelievably important and crucial. Even and a lot of times you'll even see. I heard a saying the other day of loosen the mind tight with the body. So it's okay to be kind of tense with the body as long as you're relaxed. You're breathing, you're thinking. But where it gets really hairy and where people really start gassing quick is when even in their mind it's chaotic. Everything's crazy. Everything's happening so fast, and they're stressed out. And
So you have to slow it down.
yeah, you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think to me, that's why like getting hit and stuff is tiring. Even though you're not physically doing anything, getting hit, it's taxing on your nervous system.
Oh,
It causing you to your body's under severe stress.
I do want to tell you, and yes, I'm always going to try to be funny because that's just how I am. But seriously, since the last time we had you on, I've lost 30 pounds.
You look great.
So I appreciate that. So I'm not getting ready for a fight. Just but,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
you
But,
155. I mean,
no, I do not.
you're gonna get.
Are you insane? If
I'm
I
just
was
saying,
his age,
that's
I
his
still
fighting
would-
weight, and I bet he weighs more than you right now.
No, I'm
I don't know.
182 as of this morning.
I am a little heavier than you.
Are you really?
Told you.
Wow.
And that's right.
185
but
right
here's the
now.
difference. You're all muscle. My body fat is like 48%.
He has zero wasted space.
What's your body fat right now?
I have no
10%?
idea.
About 8-10%.
No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
I
Fight time. What is it?
Oh, fight time! It's crazy.
Got to be
low.
7%, 6%.
Yeah, it would probably be lower. Like I would imagine 5-6%.
Yeah, it gets. I mean, there.
bodybuilding
On
the scale and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, on the
Because
scale.
I believe I don't know. I don't really get my body fat percentage checked or anything like that. But I believe like bodybuilders, they're probably more like, especially at the most elite level, they're probably more like 2-3%.
They're
on
very
stage,
low.
I believe.
Yeah.
I think I would probably be like 6,
Okay.
7.
And it's one of those things where
We don't get
even
as lean.
even with the bodybuilders, or with MMA athletes, you can't sustain that level of leanness. It's just not healthy.
It's
bad for you.
no, it'll literally, it's bad for
Yeah.
your overall health as far
Everything.
as like even just like disrupting your endocrine system. Your hormones are going to be
Yep.
just
Yep.
all over the place. Your
Joints,
it's,
you name it,
it's just
bad.
not good. Even if you can maintain it, it's
Yeah.
just not optimal for
Right.
sure.
Right.
Especially for performance.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like that's like the biggest differentiating factor between bodybuilding and making weight for fighting.
Right.
It's very similar. You're both cutting weight and getting as lean as possible and losing the body fat, whatever. But the actual performance aspect of it, and even leading up into it, the preparation.
Yeah.
We have to perform so much, so frequently, so often that we can't, cut our carbs the same. We can't, we don't diet quite the same because diet for performance and diet for losing weight
Just weight
is
loss
two
is very
things.
different. Yeah.
Okay.
Very different.
I want to get Clemson in here because I know he wants to be a part of this too.
For
and
sure.
He's got some questions for you, but there's a couple. I know we're going a little off, but we're going a little. I want to make sure I get these in, okay, for you.
Let's hear it.
So I've had some questions. I have a friend of mine who lives, UFC, MMA. He just like Micah. He's very knowledgeable, is just like Micah. So he sent me a couple questions, and one I asked Micah the other day, and one we wanted to bring up with you. But the first is, did the headbutt cause the cut? Which,
No, it was a knee. Sorry, I'm messing with this mic.
It's okay.
What happened? Oh, there it goes. I didn't realize the ear just got turned and it was all funky.
It's that cauliflower ear.
That's actually what I was gonna say.
That
My ears are
cauliflower
all
ear
freaking
survivors.
flared out. Yeah, but no, headbutt did not cause a fight. It was totally legal knee. So it was.
I'm sorry.
it was a knee.
You're good.
It was a knee.
It was a knee. It was early in the third round. I shot in on a takedown, and as I shot in, got to the single leg, and he defended, jacked me up, and as I came up, he clubbed the back of my head and threw a knee, and it just glanced. So it
okay.
just hardly touched my eye, but it busted it open.
Yeah.
And then I believe it got worse whenever I blocked the head kick, and his
Okay.
knee folded in and kind of bumped where it was already cut.
Yeah.
And they happened kind of back to back, so there wasn't much time in between. So it was kind of hard to tell exactly where it had happened.
Yeah.
But it was from a knee after the takedown. It wasn't as I came in; it was after the takedown.
Yeah.
And then I think that blocking the head kick and his knee hitting it is what blew it up.
Yeah. And then when the doctor came in, was it an immediate? Did he? I mean,
Yeah.
I watched it happen live, and he and I were texting back and forth about it. As soon as I saw it, I said, "That's trouble." I was like,
Yeah.
"That is just trouble." I mean, you
It
kind
was
of
it's just a horrible spot.
beast. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I could not believe that it happened so fast. The doctor came in and was like, "Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
over." I was like,
He just barely
"Whoa,
glanced.
dude,
I
you
could
didn't
even
even look
see it.
at
I
it."
could even
So
see it.
everything was legal here. Because here's the other question. Let's see what it says here. During the press conference after the fight, Evans' opponent said that the cut was caused by an accidental headbutt. So
He
that's
was
not true.
he was talking about the cut that happened to him.
Okay.
We both ducked and
Okay.
came back into
Ah.
each other, and
Okay.
I bumped his. We bumped heads, and it cut him above the eyebrow, and
Yeah.
that's what I think. So everybody told me. Everybody was like, sent me that. Was like, oh, he admitted that it was illegal headbutt that caused the cut. Get it overturned. Because
Yeah, that's what we're gonna ask. Is there appeal? Is it
no,
no?
because it was illegal. So the difference, though, that is a good question, and would probably be good for the fans to know. Would be in that situation. So in my situation, it was a legal strike that caused the cut that led to the end of the fight because he hit me with a knee and then potentially a kick, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But anyways, both legal, resulting in a pretty massive cut right over the brow of my eye, or right on my eyebrow, and it was going down into my eye. And one of the big problems
looked
was there
bad,
was
for
you
sure.
could see the artery through it.
Yeah.
It was deep enough where you could literally see the artery, so they were really concerned about that. So it led to the fight being stopped. Excuse me. And now on the other side, the what you were saying is if the fight got ended by a headbutt, that is technically like an illegal blow. So one of two things would have happened. With I believe where we were at in the fight was late enough into the fight
You
where they
would
would
have won.
stop the fight and went to the judges' scorecards
Okay.
because there was enough fight to
Oh,
have been
really?
judged.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
then I probably would have won.
Right.
Because all three judges had me up 2-0 and I could be wrong about that as far as it going to the judges.
Right.
They might have just
From
still
what I
declared
found
it a
out
no
through my friend,
contest.
you would have won.
Yes,
would have
that's
been
what
the-
I
that- it
believe.
would have
On
been
the
stopped.
judges' scorecard.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was
And-
2018 on all three.
And so, how far does it then have to go?
I want to say if it's half
Halfway through the third round, potentially,
or the second,
second
or
round.
the second round.
I think he
because
said
they have
the
two
second
rounds
round.
to judge off
Yeah.
of, basically.
Okay.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, but I think
am
that's
a
why we
little
were
unsure
confused.
on that.
Interesting. Okay.
But if it happens early enough into the fight, if the fight gets caught or caused to stop
No
from an
contest,
illegal
right?
blow, it'll
Yeah.
be declared a
Yeah.
no
So
contest.
I want to get this in here because I was at Hot Springs, Arkansas. Happened to
Okay.
be that weekend for your fight. I got front row seats in their big sports book. I had a good day at the races,
Nice.
and I took everything I was up
oh
and
no.
put it on your fight.
Oh,
But that's okay. No, this is. I just want to
That's
tell
a
you.
part of
No,
the game.
I didn't.
That's a
No,
part of
it's
the game,
listen,
baby.
from a gambler, it's
Dang.
look. I'm more worried about you, right? So
I'm
let's.
fine.
What I'm saying
You don't have
is,
to worry about
what?
me.
No,
I'm
what
good.
I'm saying is, as a gambler, the first two rounds, like I'm like a child, right?
He and I are texting
I'm screaming.
back and
I'm in the
forth.
sports
Yep.
book, and the
Yep.
sportsbook manager I know through an interview I've had with him. I get treated like royalty when I go down there. The owner and sportsbook manager, I've done interviews with them of this huge casino racetrack facility,
Sorry.
and
I just pushed the table.
and so I've got a front row seat saved for me and my friends that we went down there with. Here you are on the big screen. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I got my ticket in my hand, and then I sit down after the second round, right? And we're talking, and here starts the third round. I look up, and it's going like this.
I know,
And
man.
I wanted to personally just tell you, for you, I wanted to throw up. For me, I wanted to throw up.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah,
I'm being honest. You know,
And
but
I had a
like-
couple.
like-
I've had a couple people tell me that they
it was
bet on
just
me.
gross to see. Like I didn't understand what happened, and then you could see you were really.
It
hurt,
was
you
a
know?
good stoppage, man. I
Yeah.
hate it. And
At the
dude,
time, I was like, "Is he
Oh.
okay?" Because that looks bad.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I always tell everybody, especially my family, like don't ever worry about me because I'm
Yeah.
always gonna be good, even if I'm not good. I'm
Yeah.
good.
One of the things I hated was like just that knowledge of like, yeah. I mean, it was bad. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
times where you're like, okay. okay, you've seen some really bloody fights go on before where they let it go, and it's like, okay. But this one, just the location, the
It was
fact
the
that it was
location.
near the eye,
Yeah.
blood going into the eye, that's
Yeah.
just something that the doctors are
And
very cognizant
truthfully,
of.
that's really just not an injury. You don't want to mess with the eyes,
No,
man.
No.
Like it's not worth.
Yeah.
And so it is what it is, and man, it's so funny because I've rewatched the fight several times, and every single time when they stop the fight, it's almost like I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
and it's like I rewatch it, and it's like my heart just breaks. I'm like, no
Yeah.
way,
I
man.
know.
Are you really
Well,
stopping the fight?
If they didn't
Man.
know who you were before, they know now.
I
No,
think
Fight of the
you're-
night.
no
It was an
doubt,
incredible fight. It's like
stock
there's,
continues to rise.
oh
Thank
my
you.
good Evan,
it's
man,
that Chandler
I've
effect.
never had that much fun. I mean, I'm like, I know him. I know him. This
Well,
is
thank you.
fantastic. Oh my god.
Thank you.
I was yelling at
I mean-
both TVs that I had it on. I was like,
I
had
look
two
like
TVs
the
on.
crazy gambler in the sports book. That was me.
Nothing
That's
wrong with
right?
Well,
Nope.
thank you, guys.
Everybody in the entire sports book knew who I bet on.
Absolutely.
I can promise you that.
You weren't
Absolutely.
hiding it, huh?
No,
No.
I'm very I'm
We
an
were
animated
going nuts.
individual.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Adds to the involvement and being invested into
right.
what you're betting on.
Yeah. Well, I did want to get to one thing before. We're going to take a break here in just a second and get Clemson in here so he can ask you some questions and you guys can go over the rest of what you got. But you said your first UFC fight, mentally, it was, you weren't, I don't know how to explain what you said.
Adrenaline dump. I
Yeah,
believe was
right.
the
But
So
essentially,
that's correct.
yeah.
So this fight, from what I saw, and like I'm a novice, I don't have the knowledge Micah or other people have. You seem completely in the zone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
you
was
were
locked
you
in,
were
for
locked
sure.
in for
Yeah.
sure. And I
This
just
one was much
from a
better.
novice watching, I'm like, I don't want to be the other guy.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
heck
I'm
no.
serious. You
thank
look
you.
you looked fantastic, and it was so much fun to watch.
Thank
So
you.
mentally, what did you do different to prepare?
I prepared.
Okay.
I just
So okay,
Yeah,
well,
you
yeah.
had
Just
camp,
more-
yeah.
I
Well,
just
that
had
was a
more
short
time to
question.
prepare.
Well, because last time it was on what? How many days notice?
4 days notice.
4 days
Yeah,
notice. So like,
and it was, truthfully, and that's no excuse either. Because I mean, and that's why that fight specifically pained me so bad to have performed and have felt the way that I did. It's because that means so much to me. Of like, because this stuff is so much bigger than fighting to me, and it's about being a great competitor at life. I want to be just great at life,
Yeah.
And but I think through MMA is a very actionable way to take those skills and what I've learned in the cage and on the mats and apply that outside of those areas. And,
Yeah.
be great at life. But anyway, so I've prepared myself, or tried to as much as I can to be prepared for any opportunity, any obstacle, any adversity, any circumstance, to where when it arises, I can deal with it. And I thought that all my mental preparation and all the work I've put in was really going to kind of shine through in that moment of like, this is the best opportunity of short notice, up a weight class. I'm supposed to lose. I'm supposed to not do well, and I'm like, this is my an opportunity to blow all this out of the water,
Yep.
And I didn't come through it like I had hoped, and I was really upset that I had let the moment get the best of me. But that's life, and I'll tell you what, man, it made me a much better competitor in the fight, for the next fight, and in life. Man.
well, it showed,
So,
in your most recent fight, the composure. You were well rounded. You showcased skills. You were good in tough moments when you were in tough positions, and then you were, I think, excellent. And it showed even watching some of your training on social media. For me, as someone who loves coaching, it's really fun to see you training something 3 months ago and then see you implementing it in the fight. It's fun and cool to watch the progression. So
well, thank you.
well done.
All right,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Quick break.
Yeah, we're gonna just a
All
second. We're here live at the Irish Gypsy in O'Fallon, having a great time with Evan Elder and Micah Mills. We're gonna take a quick 2-minute break. When we come back, Clemson John is gonna take my seat and have a little talk with these two guys. We'll be right back.
Total domination, domination, domination.
I've got a golden ticket.
That's a winner!
I've got a goal.
Have two particular.
Hey
Not for
guys, we
me.
are back here at the Irish Gypsy Bar in O'Fallon, Missouri on Bryan Road. Here with Evan Elder and Micah. So, yeah, guys, we're going to be Thursday. We're going to be at DraftKings at Casino Queen. Thursday 6 p.m. and Friday on 590 The Fan at 6 p.m. there as well. But yeah, getting into the fight game. What is? I know you guys have to watch your weight, of course. You gotta get down to the weigh-in part, make sure your weight's right. But when that fight's over, what is your favorite post-fight meal?
Hmm. You know, honestly, that's kind of a tough one for me because I don't have two particular. I'm not super crazy routine. We were just talking off the air before of a lot of people are uh almost even a little superstitious, or maybe it's just super routine of like, they do the same thing right after weigh-ins, they eat this, right after the fight, they eat this. To me, I'm a little more loose in that aspect of the routine. And with after weigh-ins and after the fight are very different though, because after weigh-ins, you still have to compete the next day. It's not time to splurge and gorge
Oh,
yourself. You don't
okay.
get to
Yeah.
do what you want. The most important part is yet to come. So after weigh-ins, I usually try to stick to whatever I have been eating during fight camp because that's what my body's adjusted to. It's what it's used to breaking down.
Which would be
A lot of sweet potatoes. So it's very, very carb heavy. After
okay.
weigh-ins, after you deplete a lot of your, because most of us, for me myself at least, you go very low carb for a long time. I'm sorry, actually, let me rephrase that, just because I don't want people listening to this and then thinking I need to go no carb. I am a huge advocate of carbs.
They're the best.
I eat carbs all the time. I don't even care about how many carbs I eat because I use them so much for performance.
Right.
But whenever we do have to get to like super strict weight cutting mode, about 2 weeks out, I start lowering my carbs. And then the week of the fight is usually no carb.
Yeah.
So because of that, you start not refueling glycogen storage. Then your body starts utilizing fat to refill those glycogen stores and whatnot. So, anyways, when those glycogen storages get low, like they will be, especially after weigh-ins, that's what you're really going to want to refuel.
Right.
So your main focus on refueling after weigh-ins, especially before the fight, before performance, is getting those carbs in
Carb.
to spike your blood sugar, to get the sugar back in the muscles.
Right.
That
Just
way you're
just fill
locked in,
back
loaded.
out, right?
Exactly.
And then between that and water, right?
Yeah,
Carbs.
of course.
Of
That's
course,
the most
water.
important part.
Right.
Rehydration before anything. But-
Right.
So that's immediately after weigh-ins, rehydration for the first about hour.
Right.
Just nothing but hydration. And actually a little insight for some of the fans that might not know. As soon as you get done off the scale, you don't get to just start slamming and eating. Your body, you gotta slowly wean your way back into that
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's a tough process on your body.
Michael
to
went
make
over
weight.
that with us a week or two ago.
Yeah.
You can't
It's-
just slam
Well, you've
your
been
favorite
yeah.
meal. You have to.
Yeah,
You've
and
been
not even
back in.
not even just
really-
that, but like literally even rehydrate.
Oh yeah.
So like if you start rehydrating too fast, man, it'll start.
I've
I kill my stomach sometimes of because your stomach gets so shrank and you're very depleted.
Yeah.
Your
your body
systems
might
probably are
reject
not-
it if you're not careful. I've been at weigh-ins before where I've seen kids who clearly have cut too much weight, go in, slam a bunch of stuff, and about 10 minutes later, it's all over
Yeah.
the table. I've seen it. Not pretty. So
No.
you have to like really, again, it's a science. Like
Yeah,
everything else
really
now,
is.
it's very
Really
much a
is.
science, both with the water loading, the salt,
Yeah.
the weight cut, and all of that is really, really scientific now.
Yeah,
and
it's I mean
credit to you
literally
guys.
down to like not just having the salt and the carbs, whatever. It's like the right ratios of like
Right.
making sure in your rehydration protocol, what levels of electrolytes are you prioritizing? Are you focusing on magnesium and sodium and chloride or zinc?
Wow.
At different stages, whatever. So and then afterwards, it's very carb focused.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, refilling those glycogen stores, and then protein too, of course, but by far most important is going to be the carbohydrates. But then a little bit more fun side is after the fight. Once the performance is done, you get to enjoy yourself a little bit more. I don't specifically have like a go-to. If I would say I did, it would probably used to be pancakes.
Okay.
That pancakes always sounded so good to me after a
Yeah.
fight. So just a big old fat stack of pancakes smothered in syrup. Usually feel like garbage for a while afterwards because you're not.
That sounds
used to eating
good regardless of the fight. I mean,
does,
to
it
me, that
does,
sounds good,
yeah.
just on a casual Tuesday
Yeah.
afternoon, you
Yeah,
know?
I try to. I have been trying to be much more disciplined and strict with my diet and nutrition, not just for weight purposes, but just for health, overall
Yeah.
health. Because I really have, man, I feel so much better. I love the saying that nothing tastes as good as healthy feels, and
Yeah.
I really do agree with it. Because the other day, for example, I went and had an amazing meal with some amazing people, and indulged and gorged myself, and I paid for it.
Yep.
Like I really paid for it. I went to work out and was super nauseous, felt
Really?
like garbage, and like
Wow.
it's just not worth it to me anymore. So of course I still have those moments where I do either fall short in the discipline area, or I just consciously choose to enjoy the moment with the people that I'm around, and indulge in some
course.
stuff that I probably shouldn't. But there's consequences for everything you do, and I definitely pay for it. So I definitely choose to try to remain on the more nutritious side of things nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, pancakes. If I'm splurging, what else? A good burger is always. Oh, what am I talking about? You know what? You know what's been my go-to my last two fights, especially being in Vegas? In-N-Out Burger. Oh,
In-N-Out.
Really?
yes.
Okay,
Heck yeah.
okay.
Okay,
You
I
seem
have nothing
disappointed.
wrong with it. I just feel like it's like a steak and shake.
What?
No, I disagree with
It's
that.
like-
I just
disagree.
that's your low. I
there's
don't
a better
buy into the
there's
hype.
a better burger place that's kind of making its way in St. Louis. Uh,
What a burger?
no,
Oh,
I don't know.
with the green sign.
yeah. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
Green sign.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna make me look.
Wow.
Shake
Yeah,
Shack.
Shake Shack.
Oh,
Shake
Shake
Shack.
Shack.
Yes.
Shake Shack is
Shake
pretty
Shack.
good. I've only had it
That
like
was really
once.
bad that I couldn't
Oh,
think of that.
That's an
Very
incredible
good.
burger.
Really?
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm not sure. I think I've really only had it one time.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that well.
So
Last week I did kind of indulge myself when I came in here. They've got a burger that's between two slices of Provel cheese.
Oh, boy.
Like two grilled cheeses with Provel cheese on it inside, like in the burger inside of that. Phenomenal burger here at
Yeah.
Irish Gypsy. So
So
that was a great burger.
if I may switch gears a little bit,
Of
but I
course.
wanted to ask you some other UFC related questions now. UFC's gotten so mainstream now with all these celebrities coming to the big fights and so many different personalities. Have you gotten to meet any really cool people, both in and out of the fight game, I guess, as a result of
Well,
what you're doing?
I've gotten to meet a ton of fighters.
Yeah.
That man, that's the coolest thing in the world to me. Just
Yeah.
because I mean, so many people that I've literally looked up to my whole life. I'm meeting guys that even just sharing the mats with, getting to train with them. That's
Yeah.
the craziest thing to me is I've met so many of my heroes. Like
Yep.
I've growing up as a kid, you watching these guys on TV, and I'm
Absolutely.
like, man, one day I want to be like them, and not wouldn't say I'm there yet, but getting to even just be able to share the mats and to actually train and practice with them, is just
Getting to dance with the
incredible.
Lions.
Yeah,
A lot of
so
fun.
it's amazing. It's a dream come true. And outside of that, I've definitely met some really cool people. Some celebrities, and not necessarily at the UFC fights.
Really, just kind
Yeah,
of through
just yep.
being
Someone
in
will
the
come in through the gym, being just being in the same location,
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah, not necessarily at the fights like you were saying. I'm sure that will be a great place to meet them.
Yeah.
But like you kind of alluded to, they usually come to the bigger fights,
right.
the arena cards. Because a lot of the cards that they're putting on the fight nights, the UFC fight nights, are at the UFC Apex. It's a lot more intimate, a lot more secluded. It's not just kind of open to everybody. The seats are a lot more expensive. There's only like I think 60 seats or something,
Right.
60 some odd seats in there. So it's not like you're fighting an arena with tens of thousands of fans.
Yeah.
So
But that being said, have you had interactions with guys like Dana White, Joe Rogan, Cormier? Some of the bigger
I've
names
not
within
met-
the sport.
I have not met Dana White or Joe Rogan.
Okay.
But Paul Felder and Brendan Fitzgerald and Laura Senko, the other commentators and stuff like that. I have
Absolute
they're
legends.
They're awesome.
Legend.
Paul, I'll be honest, I was super geeked getting to hang
Oh,
out
what
and
a
talk with
dude.
Paul
Paul
Felder. Oh,
Felder,
dude, he's the man.
absolute
He's
legend.
just the man.
Shout out Paul Felder.
Shout out Paul
No
Felder
free
for
shout
sure.
outs. But Ariel Hawani?
No, I
No?
have not met him
What are
yet.
your thoughts on him? He's kind of a controversial figure. If
I
you're not
guess so, yeah.
familiar, John, Ariel Hawani has been covering the sport as a reporter, analyst for, well, I guess a reporter for really since kind of the inception, and he's sort of had a back and forth with Dana White and some interesting relationships with the UFC and some falling outs, but he also is probably the premier coverage when it comes to journalism of the fight
I would
game.
say. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him?
I like Ariel.
Yeah.
I think that I'm sure there are some things he's a little controversial on. But overall, I don't think that I haven't seen too many times where I have a problem with like a lot of the controversial journalism. I guess would be-
Media as a whole.
would just be like either interviewing people with a specific motive to try to get like kind of clickbaity headlines
An agenda.
or get elicit specific responses to where you're getting stuff that's going to be
That you can clip and turn
good
it.
for you.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is going to look good for me
Right.
for my journalism.
Right.
Not I'm trying to just have a good quality interview.
Right,
Really,
right. You're trying to tell your side of the story
Yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to the story.
And maybe I don't watch him enough to see all the controversy, but I
Right.
personally think he just does a good job.
Yeah, I
and
totally
there,
agree.
maybe it's just there's a lot of controversy amongst the sport.
Yeah, well-
it's a pretty heavy. A lot of people like to talk trash, and there's a lot of debate on who's this and who's that,
Yeah.
who's better. So I'm sure there's just controversy in general. So
It's
I personally like him.
it's been fun to watch too. Like he's just so synonymous with the coverage of the sport because he's been around since Jump Street, right? Before anybody knew who he was or even really the UFC, he was out there doing interviews with guys that would later go on to be legends and champions.
Yeah.
Now that brings me to my next question and another personality in the space, Brendan Schaub. You're familiar, obviously.
yeah.
Have you had any interactions with him, or what are your
No.
thoughts? And I have my own agenda as well in covering this. But I'm
Hey,
just curious.
dude, we're all human.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? I just heard something the other day. It's something about even when being objective, we have to understand our subjectivity
Absolutely.
and compensate for that in order for us to be objective.
Absolutely.
So it's like just understanding that we're human. We all have our own agendas. Some greater or smaller than others. But it's never going to go away.
Oh,
so don't
yeah.
feel bad for that.
Absolutely.
But what going back to Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
I haven't had any interactions with him, but
Okay.
again, it's another guy. Maybe it's just I don't know if it's me. I don't personally ever have any
Yeah.
ill
see,
thoughts or
you're different than me because you're such a nice guy and
you.
you always see the best in everyone. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to hate on Brendan Schaub, but he is, for those of you who don't know, a former fighter turned comedian and big time podcast host. He's in the Joe Rogan sphere. He's on Joe Rogan's show a lot and gets a lot of hate from
He's
the community.
I would say more controversial
Yes, absolutely.
than Ariel, but yeah, I don't know if it's I choose not to.
Probably.
I don't
that.
know, but I don't ever really, I don't ever hear much, and I'm like, oh, that guy's
Yeah.
an idiot. Or
I don't think he's a bad person by any means, but I do think he's doesn't always have the best takes, or sometimes doesn't always speak with the best background. And I've recently run across there's this Reddit, like a Reddit page,
Yeah.
and there's this whole Reddit page that's dedicated to his podcast, and it's him and Brian Callen, who's another comedian in that sphere, and there's this Reddit page that's dedicated to basically analyzing, breaking down all of their thoughts, and for lack of better words, just making fun of them because they say some really dumb stuff. And I didn't know about this at all until a few weeks ago. I saw a clip of Brendan Schaub saying something. I was like, that's ridiculous. So I just looked him up and I came across this page. It's got 115,000 members of this page that are all like basically, I think some of it, most of it, I think, is in just good humor and
Yeah,
making light
yeah.
of a guy that sometimes says some goofy stuff. But it's just wild to see the sub followings of like Ariel Helwani has that, Joe Rogan has that, of like not only is there these reporters that are covering the sport, but there's communities that follow and break down, and podcasts that break down the podcasts of the fight game. Like that's how
Yeah.
deep this media mechanism has gone, and it also shows how important it is then for up and coming fighters like yourself to then market themselves, because there's so many people out there and
Yeah.
eyeballs and availability to get these content. I don't know. That was just my one off aside.
Yeah, I to be completely honest with you, I try not to have any animosity or ill thoughts or anything ill will towards anybody,
Yeah.
because it's just occupies too much of your own
Totally
mental
agree.
capacity and bandwidth in your mind and your heart. But that bothers me a little bit of people just going so far out of their way
Yes.
to hate on somebody
It's
else.
it's
It's like if
really
it's that big, if you dislike something or someone that much, why would you go so far out of your way to?
it's such a waste of time.
Yeah, to me, I'm
Um,
just like you're wasting your own time.
well, honestly, you're giving that person a lot of credit
Yeah.
by spending that amount
Who
of
was the
time.
baseball player, super famous? He was pretty notoriously said he was very flamboyant and wasn't a fan favorite a lot of times. And anyways, he said
I can think of one, Albert Bell. If you guys remember Albert Bell,
I'm thinking like
no,
Jeter or A Rod
knocked
or
out the
something
guy.
like
no,
that.
I don't quite remember. I don't follow baseball hardly at all.
No worry.
But anyways, he was getting booed at an away stadium, and
Oh, Barry Bonds used to all the time.
it might have
There's
been,
plenty.
but he said that they don't boo nobodies.
That's true.
And
That is true.
it's, I mean, a lot of times these people that are catching slack and like they have these big subgroups, maybe have 115,000
Yeah.
people on a Reddit, are usually there because they're
Talking about it
Well,
for a reason.
hey,
yeah,
look,
they're
look,
pretty popular.
it's always come back to asses in seats, baby. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it's
Yeah.
down to. And you know what?
Koscheck, I
Look
love
at
Koscheck's hate me or love me, talk about me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when they stop talking about me, that's when I'm off my game. I think that was Koscheck as well. And I think it's important. Like, look at Jake Paul. Total heel of the kind of
Yeah.
fight game community, and I'm not a huge fan or whatever, but he's taken that and marketed it to become what he is, because so many people want to just see him either get knocked out, or if you are one of his fans, knock the other guy out. But it's very much like that marketing promotional type stuff.
He's a marketing genius
Um,
for sure.
I see you're doing a ton of stuff on your social media, and credit to you and whoever you have behind you
Thank
doing
you.
that kind of stuff. How big or how important is that in just kind of your day to day?
Well, truthfully, I mean, I don't know how big a stuff I'm doing, with social media. I try to be as active as possible,
Yeah.
and I really do look at it now as like as a job. I hate to say it. I personally don't even really like it. I've always been a fan of like I tried to grow up and kind of base myself on principles of like work hard in silence, let success be your noise, and like what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. So I'm not even really a fan of like broadcasting everything that I'm doing
Self
and
promotion.
Right.
yeah, more so because I don't really have a problem with like the self promotion part. It's just almost the idea of like almost grabbing for attention. Like look at me.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really even I don't need it and I don't really care for it, but I do. Which you probably won't believe me saying that if you do look at my social media because I am trying to be active
It's
on there.
a
But
huge important
I
part
really
of the
do
game.
look at it as like it would almost be irresponsible of me not to take advantage of
Platform.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it really does. I look at it as just a tool, or just part of a job.
Yeah.
It's like I have to do this because
Yeah.
it would be almost ridiculous not to. So,
Well,
and honest and truthfully though, I do have fun with. It is really cool. I'm not that artistic at all, but I do think creativity is one of the highest forms of like self expression. And I'm not that creative. I try to be as creative as I can for the social media side of things, and usually it is just me doing my social media. So I do have a lot of fun, playing around, because there's a lot of creative, artistic uh, expression that gets put into videography and photographs and
Yeah.
and the whole social media realm. So it is fun on that part. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I think too for your audience, for someone like myself, I've been following the Michael Chandler for years and years and years, and it was always motivating for me to see him put stuff out, and likewise with you now. And I've even seen kind of an up in your social media presence just since getting to know you, and I think that's great because it's cool for your fans to go out and get online and see, oh, he's putting the work in, he's doing this, and I know it's going to sound kind of lame, but sometimes I'll see that and be like, all right, well, maybe I need to get my butt to the gym or do
That's
a
not
little
lame at
something.
all. I do the same thing. But
So
yeah,
I think it can be a very cool platform, and the fact that you have the mentality of it's not all about me just makes it that much more authentic and genuine. And I think it's again, it's a no brainer. It's kind of a must in today's
yeah,
world, and doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
yeah.
and as far as your style, Evan, are you more of a stand with your opponent or take them to the ground?
I mean, I basically started in mixed martial arts, so
Yeah.
I kind of grew up as a mixed martial arts fighter. So I don't really have like a background or a pedigree in any one thing. I'm not like an elite level striker or a Division 1 wrestler or some jujitsu world champion or anything like that. All of my skills kind of developed at the same time. So I wouldn't really even say I have necessarily a preference. I think that being a mixed martial artist is my strongest attribute, and the ability to mix it up because it is a sport all of its own. You can be. I love Kamaru Usman. He said after he won the title from Tyron Woodley, he was like, "I might not be the best pure kickboxer. I might not be the best pure wrestler. I might not be the best pure jiu-jitsu artist. But when it comes to putting all this shit together, I'm the best that ever did it."
Yeah,
And man, it's a whole nother art on its own.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you
Because
just adjust to whatever the fight brings.
yeah,
Like
and
that.
then really kind of keep mixing it up because the there's kind of like a fluidity that needs to happen amongst the different styles of the arts. The blending of everything
Right.
is a skill of its own.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we're going to take a quick break, guys. I'm going to hand it back over to David, and it's been great talking with you, Evan.
Thank
We're
you.
having a
It's been
great
great talking
time
with
here
you
at the
too.
Irish Gypsy in O'Fallon, Missouri, on Bryan Road, guys. So come out and see us. But yeah, I'm going to hand it back over to David. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break.
Total domination, domination, domination.
I've got a golden ticket.
That's a winner!
Welcome back, everyone. We're live here at the Irish Gypsy here in O'Fallon, and we're gonna order some food here in a little bit. We're gonna test out the food here, and I'm sure it's amazing. Well, I came here last night, and the food was very, very good. So I got the exact same thing. I'm not
What'd you
really.
get?
I just burger and fries.
Creature habit.
I don't like. Yeah, I know
Ain't
what I
nothing wrong with
like.
that.
I know what I like, and if especially when I go somewhere for the first time and it's really excellent, I'm not gonna veer off.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I'm the other way. I'm like I need to try everything.
I'm somewhere
So
in between. Although I'm probably a creature of habit. Like she handed me that. I took one look, turkey sandwich.
don't get me wrong. I'm a creature of habit too, but I also am. I try to be. You know what? I used to be so routine with that. Of I'm gonna whenever I find something I like, I'm just gonna eat that. Um, but then I started coming across things that I didn't think I would like, and I really loved them. And I was like, what else am I have not tried that I actually really enjoy? So now I'm like, I'll try anything twice.
I want to tell
It's
you
kind of a running joke.
what I had last night. Also, I tried was the Cajun shrimp.
Okay,
Oh my goodness!
it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I
Good
couldn't
Cajun
get
shrimp.
both. There's no way I could eat
Yeah.
all of that food, but
Well,
the Cajun shrimp was
he
amazing.
also has to be careful about what he eats for most of the year, unlike us. So it makes sense that you would venture out when you do have a little bit of flexibility
What
in
are
the
you
diet.
saying, Micah?
Unlike myself, who I if it's in front of me,
Look like
I'll eat it.
you
Yeah,
take good care
I
of
mean,
yourself.
I
yeah.
try to, but I could definitely tighten up the diet
Hey, we
for
all can.
sure. I
We all
definitely
can.
could tighten up the diet. I like to stay active, but for the most part, I just eat what I just eat what I want.
I want to
That's
mention
kinda it.
a couple things before we get to the last segment
For
that
sure.
we have. John and I are every Thursday night from DraftKings at Casino Queen from 6 to 8. A live stream, 590 The Fan, 6 to 7 every Friday night. 2 shows every week, and I love this special edition, man. I'm
That's
having a
right.
great time, and I know we all are with you, Evan.
Yeah, I'm having a really good time. So thank you guys.
That's great. Micah, I know you got a couple more things you want to get to before we jet out of here. So
That's right.
let's get to it.
Well, first and foremost, let's talk about UFC 285, the most recent fight card this past week. I'm going to start out with the guy who kind of contradicts what you were saying earlier about being a full, well-rounded mixed martial artist.
Absolutely.
In Bo Nickel,
Yeah.
my boy, Penn State, I believe 3-time national champion, junior world champion, Hodge Trophy winner. What are your thoughts? We had called it first round submission. He got a submission at 2 minutes and 54 seconds into the fight.
Yeah.
What do you see from this guy? I mean, he's a
Oh,
monster.
I mean, he's dude. It being at the gym that I'm at, very high level wrestling at Killcliff FC. Man, wrestling is so dominant.
Yep.
It's just it's the most. I would say, in my opinion, and a lot of MMA fighters' opinions, it's the most crucial. It's at least the best foundation,
Right.
you know, because I mean, it really does kind of give you the ability to dictate where the fight's going to take place.
Mhm.
Not always, not necessarily, because you see, that's it, man. I love fighting so much because it's there's so many variables.
Yep.
You know, there's so much that goes into it. So somebody like Bo Nickel, that's a crazy. It's such an interesting clash of styles against somebody like that's an elite level striker like Israel Adesanya.
Right.
You would almost imagine somebody that doesn't. Israel Adesanya is not a phenomenal. Is not known for his grappling.
Correct.
You know, and Bo Nickel absolutely is. But I don't know. I don't think Bo Nickel would be able to take down Israel Adesanya.
Really? Okay. Clip that.
I don't think he
Clip
would.
that.
I don't
That's
think he
a
would.
hot take.
I don't,
Okay. Okay. All right, Devin.
Because of the
You just
striking.
lost a little bit.
because of the striking, man. I really don't think that.
You're correct in saying his takedown defense is phenomenal and his distance is phenomenal.
Okay, maybe let me rephrase that then. Because I think if Bo Nickel got in on a shot, it would be a wrap.
Yes.
But I don't think that he would be able to close the distance. I really don't think so. So
Well, you're wrong, but okay.
Fair enough.
Wow. So
I'm
here's
just kidding.
here's
I'm talking to a professional fighter.
that is exactly what I was gonna say. I said, Micah, he's in the ring, bro.
I know.
You
I
know?
know. It's like,
I'm gonna go with what he's got to say. I mean, I love you.
I'm a couch warrior, baby.
I love you.
I'm a
I
Twitter
love you.
warrior.
You're so knowledgeable. I'm going here first.
All right. Well, when Bo
sorry.
Nickel takes down Izzy for the championship and he submits him in one round, I'll be here to collect my winnings because that's what I'm gonna take. But I am
Look at
with
him.
you.
He's talking the gambling game.
I know,
He's changed
I'm
over since you were
I'm
on the last
chirping
time,
now.
Evan. He's
I'm
he's-
chirping.
That's all right.
This
He,
is the
he
fight
couldn't
game,
wait
baby.
to get to the machine to punch his ticket, man. I'm sorry for the future Mrs. Michael Mills. I
Creating
created
a monster. That's right.
He's
it's
not.
all
You're not
good.
the first or the last.
No.
That some wives don't like me
Oh
hanging
boy.
around.
Oh boy. Well, I do think you raise a really good point, and it'll be interesting. I mean, again, it
Oh,
goes
dude,
back
it
to
would-
why we're so obsessed with the fight game
100%,
because it's
yeah.
two insanely different styles. Now, me being very biased towards wrestlers, of course, I'm going to say he could take him down, but Izzy's had a good track record against some significant grapplers, wrestlers that haven't been able to take him down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
I really think, man, and it's real easy to think, you know, yeah, that makes sense. Like he should be able to cover the distance, get a hold of a leg, and if he grabs a leg, there's no way you can't prepare for that level of wrestling.
A lifetime of being on the
can't,
mat
you
now.
But I should rephrase that. You can't expect or prepare to out wrestle that level of wrestling.
Right.
You have to approach it in a different way.
Right.
But I think Izzy would do exactly that. And like it's one thing to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get in there and take him down. When you get face to face and you get in that cage and you realize, oh my gosh, this dude's footwork is so much better than I thought,
Yeah.
or I'm getting blasted every single time I even step in. It's completely different.
Absolutely.
You know, or
So
if you feel the
so
power.
do you have a plan B, plan C?
Yeah, I mean, you always need, you always have to, you pretty much have or the way I like to think about it is, just a plan A, a plan B, a plan C.
Okay.
Of just like, this is what I want to happen. If that doesn't work, I'm going to do this.
Right.
Last case scenario, this is what's going
Wow,
to have to
that's the
happen.
Mike Tyson. Everyone's got a plan until you get hit in the face.
Yeah,
You
my
know?
point is like the plan could go out the window
And it
within
usually
10
does.
seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
for me, I'm much more. The methods are many and the concepts are few, and I think that there's a million different ways that things can play out
Yeah.
in the fight. But if you get more to approaching in conceptual ideas instead of methods of like, okay, I'm going to do exactly this right there,
Right.
and then you might not ever encounter that exact situation in the fight.
Right.
But just in concepts of like, I'm gonna try to pressure, get him to the outside of the cage. Once he's there, then I use these set of strikes to open up the takedown. As opposed to saying I'm gonna double jab right hand, move in, slip outside, get him to step off this way, grab the single leg. When he defends this way, I'm
Right.
clubbing the head. It's way too specific.
Easy to overthink, or
Yep.
or it's easy to think that you can do something until you step into the cage with someone like Adesanya,
Yep.
who gives you such a different look than you're
And
ever
just in
going to
general,
get anywhere
and just
else.
in general,
Yeah.
going back to what we were saying with the ABC,
Yeah.
having different game plans, or the game plan going out the window.
Right.
I think it's easier to game plan in concepts than it is in specifics.
For sure.
So that's a lot of the way we train, anyways. It's
Yeah.
just like it's much more. The concepts are so much more important to understand than individual techniques.
I know you got one more. I got one. How much time is spent watching previous fights of your next opponent?
I think it depends. I think that really depends a lot on the fighter. I personally really enjoy watching tape and breaking down and really trying to understand as much as I can and as in depth as I can. But some fighters, like Cowboy Cerrone, is notorious for he's like, I've never watched any of my opponents fight because
Yeah.
he's like, I will let my coaches do it, and and
Oh, wow.
one of my best friends is actually that way. He's a
Yeah.
good fighter and he doesn't. Shout out Anthony Casano, Phil Wood.
Shout out.
I didn't,
No
I
free
didn't, I
shout
didn't
outs.
hear you. I didn't
I
hear
said
it.
shout out Anthony Casano.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Call him Lil Wood. That's his nickname. He doesn't like watching his opponents either.
Right.
So to each is their own. And
Just
I
depends.
personally really
You like
enjoy
film.
breaking down film
Yeah.
and trying to understand as much
Yeah.
as I can, especially on.
So moving up the card real quick, we go next to the Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalen Turner.
Oh my!
We had taken
gosh.
that prediction in a classic Gamrot fashion, just kind of a grind, brutal, grappling on top. He's solid, I think, just about everywhere. Went to decision. We had called that one as well. The next one was Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal.
Oh my goodness.
We took Shavkat by KO. He won by submission he won by submission early into the third round. So missed on that, and then I think
Was
everybody
it
in the
early
world.
in the third? I don't think it was.
Oh, I'm sorry, late in the third. 4:17. So I'm sorry.
I believe. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I might
very
be thinking-
late, very
yeah.
late
'cause
over
Jeff Neal
Neal.
started tagging him up in the
Correct,
third round,
correct.
and then but dude, Shavkat, whoo,
Anyone with the name
He's-
Shavkat, and I've said this a million times,
What is it?
Akmanov or Nurmagomedov or
he's
Makachev.
incredible.
Like when these guys, and I think he's a Dagestani too, is he not? Or
I don't quite
something
remember.
like
It's something different.
Kyrgyzstan or something.
thing.
Again, when they have the Akhmatov or
Kazakhstan?
whatever,
I don't
it's something like that.
But anyways,
Um,
you know what it really is. I think the difference in what you're saying with these Dagestanis
Russian guys. yeah.
is the gym that I'm at. We have it's just such a great melting pot of like so many different ethnicities and cultural backgrounds and just
Stylistic backgrounds.
styles. It's amazing. So you get a plethora of all kinds of different training partners, but a lot of these guys getting to talk to them, that's all they do there.
Yeah.
They don't play other sport. Like when you're a kid, you don't play baseball or basketball or hockey. You
Yeah.
do combat sports.
Yep.
So when you grow up, you're doing this from such a young age. So and especially like prepubescent time era. Of like
Oh,
your
my
body
goodness.
adapting, of like
Yes.
growing up knowing this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Like I think that is tremendously important.
Yeah. Well, you'll see these YouTube videos of training camps in Russia or wherever of kids that are 5 to 10 years old that are doing techniques that you see in high school here in
Yeah,
America
no, 100%.
at like the highest level.
Yep.
And it just shows that again they grow up on the mat. They grow up. there's a difference between we have combat sports here in America, but they have combat culture.
Yeah.
And all these kids
That's a good way
grow
to
up
put it.
and they want to be the next Khabib. They want to be
Yep.
the next Islam versus we have, you might want to be the next LeBron or you might want to be the next
Yep.
MLB player, golfer, tennis player. And for them, it's just like that is what they want to pursue from the beginning. And they don't indulge in distractions. You don't see them out at the clubs and everything else. I think a lot of that stems from their religious beliefs and
Yep. I
it
think
just
that's an enormous factor.
it is the
I really do.
discipline that goes into
Yep.
it. I mean, they're clean, everything. You know, they just their lives are committed. There's no distractions. They're very tunnel vision, and they have one focus, and that is to be the best fighter on the planet. And that's that's why some of these guys separate themselves from the
I
pack.
completely agree. Couldn't agree more.
Next up, we had the crazy upset between Shevchenko versus Grasso. I don't think anybody saw that coming. We brought it up earlier. Spinning back kick that she missed got caught by Grasso. So hats off to her beating one of the best female fighters in history. And then of course John Jones with the early first round submission.
Yeah.
I had taken
I had a lot of people that I
That's
talked
right.
to that bet the other
goat.
side.
that
That bet the against Jones that loved the 2-1 price
Oh.
that you got.
I
Yeah.
hated that.
I know you did.
That's a
And you talked me off of it.
good.
You did.
Cyril Gahn is
I couldn't imagine ever betting against.
No,
Jones,
Cyril-
honestly,
Gahn-
But
He's-
think about from a gambler's perspective, right? You're getting 2-1 on the opponent. He's been off 3 years,
yeah, no,
right?
for sure.
and
for
he's
sure.
stepping up in weight.
Yeah.
Now, somebody from the outside, those are
If you
two
didn't know who
big-
John Jones was, for sure, that's
my point.
appealing.
But even if you
But-
do, from a gambling standpoint, you're talking about two major flags when it comes to gambling. Time off.
Oh, he's got more flags than that, but yeah.
I understand, but I'm just saying. We're not going to talk
Sorry.
about that.
He's the
I'm
best fighter in the
sorry.
world, not necessarily
Yeah,
the most outstanding
but-
citizen.
But you've got 3 years off,
Yep.
right? And you've got going up in weight. And we've talked just from what we talked about last time for your first UFC fight. I'm just saying from a gambler, and you're going to give me 2-1 on the opponent, right? So
Was it really only?
Yeah.
I would have. I could see.
my
how it
my
would've been
point
much
being is
more.
that the
Sure.
value from a gambling side was not to bet Jones. Okay,
The value,
value,
for sure. Yeah.
but obviously, what was first round, right? It was over in like
It was
3 minutes.
Well, the
absolute
value was
domination.
submission or
Right,
by
right,
KO,
or
which-
that way,
yes,
but
yes.
not the minus. Not the
Oh yeah,
minus
yeah, just money
280
line,
or
yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah, that's not the value. The value is always trying to identify either the style of finish or what round.
Correct.
I mean, I think that's
what I'm
usually-
learning through you.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm learning that as well because I'm kind of taking the things that go right. Like on this past card, we had a couple that hit, then we had a couple that were really, really close. One that was interesting earlier in the card was, I believe it was Brunson versus Duplessis.
Yeah.
Threw in the towel. Derek Brunson's corner. I don't know if you knew this. Threw in the
Yeah.
towel, and he was getting beat up. But we had Duplessis by decision. He throws in the towel with 1 second left on the clock in the second round. Fight was over, but it's just very rare that you see a corner throw in the towel.
Yeah, I was kind of happy for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek actually trains with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So does Duplessis actually.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
it kind of weird. Actually, you know what's really crazy? That's not the only fight we had on the card. On this same card, where two teammates fought each other.
What was the other one?
Esteban Ribas and Loic. I don't remember how to say Loic's last name.
Okay.
Something very Russian.
Okay.
They were the very first fight on the early
On
prelim.
the early prelim.
Amazing fight. But in that situation, so Derek Brunson's situation, Derek trains with us, and then Dricus actually lives in South Africa, so he trains there. But when he comes to the States,
Then
he
he'll
trains
train
with
it.
us.
Okay.
So he wasn't really. But anyways, they're both considered out of our gym a lot of times. So I don't think any of our coaches were there
Mm.
to corner them because they didn't want to coach against the other person.
Conflict of.
So they had their own corners. So I think Derek's corner was not necessarily our coaches, but they threw in the towel. I personally, I freaking love Derek Brunson. He's
Yeah.
just an amazing person.
been around. I mean,
And dude, just a decorated fighter.
Yep.
And he always impresses me. He was tagging Dricus up in that
Yeah,
first round, man.
no
he was
doubt.
giving him some trouble. But just for, man, don't get me wrong. I love this stuff, and there's something about just being a warrior of just fighting through any amount of adversity. But at the end of the day, our health, is important.
Yeah.
And I really think that so many of us build a mindset that's just so unwilling to give up that it is very or a lot of times we're too tough for our own good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's important to have people that care for you and
Have a
want
corner that's willing to protect you
Yeah.
from yourself sometimes.
exactly because he was in my opinion it was
You
it
could
was
see.
over.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything closing you want to talk about for about a minute or two?
only last thing we're gonna bring up is the upcoming Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
We have, and for those of you who don't know, it is a reality TV show that started. Gosh, I think they're on their like 30th season or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it started
around
back
for
in
a
the
minute.
day, and I think it was one of the things that really saved the UFC by getting it
really
more
was,
in the
yeah.
mainstream, and that legendary fight between Stephen Bonner and Forrest
Forrest
Griffin.
baby. Yeah.
But the headline coaches are our boy Michael Chandler, St. Louis guy, against
Yeah.
the notorious Conor McGregor. It's going to be
Wow.
an absolute, and I have been
That's
calling
exciting.
for this fight for a decade now. Really since Chandler got into Bellator and started
When is
having
this?
all of his success. The fight, I don't know if they've scheduled the fight
I want
yet.
to say
So they're
it's
gonna follow
August,
him all the
but
way
August?
through.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
They're
so
gonna follow him all the way through.
correct. So
Wow.
the
That's
show
great.
premieres on ESPN Plus at the end of May, and so the show will go on throughout the couple of weeks, which is a tournament format where then at the end the two best will fight each other, and then McGregor and Chandler will fight each other,
That
which is
sounds
going to be a fantastic
fantastic.
fight.
Yeah, it's gonna
Must
be
see
insane.
TV.
Evan, before we go, I got one question.
Let's hear it.
This is it. I want to know how many In-N-Out burgers you got for 50K.
Well, we did the math. No, I'm just playing. No, that was just a funny Instagram reel.
It was.
It was.
I love
I,
In-N-Out. I used to live out west
love
for 20
In-N-Out.
years, and I miss
Really?
In-N-Out.
Yeah, I love In-N-Out, man.
Yeah.
I was actually the first place I moved was California. I was 19, my first time moving away from home, and moved out to California, and I ended up working at In-N-Out Burger for a year.
Right
Oh,
on.
really?
And so I was, man,
Ugh.
I ate so many In-N-Out burgers.
Ugh.
It was way before I cared at all about my diet, so I was eating 4 burgers a day almost. I would eat 2 at lunch, and then I would come back at night after I got done training and lifting, and eat 2 more. So, man, shout out In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsor your boy.
I had to get that one in. It was
Yeah,
great.
that's right.
I'm thinking like 20 years ago, I'm like, yeah, let's go to In-N-Out and spend 50 grand. And then the older me is like, come
Oh,
on,
no.
Evan. Come
No,
on,
no,
Evan.
no.
There's
It
so
was
much better we can do.
absolute joke.
I know.
Absolute
Of
joke.
course, I know that. Evan, thank you
I
so
had
much.
2 burgers.
Well, that's enough. Evan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Evan
you,
Elder.
guys.
Yeah, this is so much fun. I hope next time you're in town, you join
Absolutely,
us again.
man. I'd love to.
Right? Micah Mills.
Thank
Thank
you.
you once again. I love your
Buddy Micah.
expertise. He's so knowledgeable. It's great.
I appreciate you guys.
Clemson John, all the crew, and the Irish Gypsy, man. We're
go.
here.
Alright.
Come check
Ready to
this
eat.
place out in
Thank you for
O'Fallon.
having us.
Our food's ready. We're
Yes,
going to get
sir.
out of here. Thursday night, John and I will be at DraftKings at Casino Queen live, 6 o'clock. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll be back. All right. Bring us in. All right, guys. That was our interview with Evan Elder on Tuesday. If you'd already seen it, well, we just want to make sure everybody get a chance to see it because it's
Yeah, that was great.
we had to catch him off a Thursday evening. He's a hard man to track down.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate him taking the time with us on Tuesday, and I'm glad you guys got a chance to see it.
If you guys hadn't seen the end of his fight, go back and watch that too.
Watch the whole fight.
Oh
You got to
man,
watch the whole fight.
he had a heartbreaker of a fight. He's winning the fight the whole way through. Probably how much time was left in the fight? A minute and a half, 2 minutes.
No. It was 40 seconds into the third round.
40 seconds into the third round.
Yeah. They still
He
had
gets-
over 4 minutes left.
Yeah, he gets cut on the eyebrow, and they had to stop the fight because of the cut. He was going to win the fight, though. He's winning it on both judges' scorecards.
3 judges scorecards.
Yep, all 3
20 to
judges'
18.
scorecards, and just a heartbreaker of a fight for Evan. But go get him next, Evan.
Yeah, absolutely. While that was playing, we found out something pretty interesting. Well, we're going to be here at DraftKings at Casino Queen next Thursday morning from 10 to noon.
Yep, the first big day of the NCAA tournament. You got those play-in games where it's like the 16 seeds will play each other, and then 2 11 seeds will see who gets into the play-in game. That's technically the first round, but this is the first full day of basketball. Thursday we'll be here 10 to noon.
Yeah, that's exciting. We're
Yep.
going to get from 10 to 11. We'll get our 11:30 picks in,
Absolutely.
and then we'll cruise into the rest of the day. And then we're on 590 The Fan on Friday, and
Yeah.
we'll be pretty much set, hopefully, for the weekend.
Yep.
And we'll be posting John's picks and Noah's picks on our website and our social media. So kind of keep up with that. I know Noah, you weren't with us last year during the tournament, and Noah
I did a few call-ins.
you did a few
Did a few
call-ins, but
call-ins.
Noah just caught absolute fire during last year's tournament, and it was a lot of fun. We were at Wiggler's Bar and Grill for the championship
Yeah,
game,
that was a
and
great
we
place.
all four of us, and I include Pat Perry in this.
Yeah.
We all did
Yeah.
have the winner, right?
Yep.
We had the winner.
Kansas.
Yeah. No, they won.
Yeah. Kansas
Right.
won.
No, but we all bet North Carolina.
Y'all bet North Carolina plus the
We all-
points.
plus-
Yeah.
plus 4.5
Yeah, plus
points.
the points won.
Plus
Yeah, yeah.
points. So that's key, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that was a little
Yeah,
disappointing.
I
though.
got. Let me tell you what I got though. I got North Carolina plus 14.5 early because Kansas went up.
Yeah.
So it shot up to 14.5. I grabbed that thing and said, "Whoa, 14.5! Give me that." Never had to sweat it.
Yeah, John went to sleep halfway through the second half.
And my bet went to sleep because it had no shot to lose. Plus 14.5 with North Carolina in that game.
You know, it seems like when I talk to you, it's like as we get closer and closer to the tournament, your energy level just seems to pick up.
Yeah, it's one of the better times of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the bowl season in college football. Then you got March Madness for now. I like March Madness because you got action the whole day. You got what you got on next Thursday is 4 games from 11 to 2, 4 games 2 to 4, 2 to 5, and then 2 5 to 7 or 5 to 8, and then 4 games to cap off the night. What else could you ask for?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Now we're talking gambling.
Yeah, this is like a dream.
Well,
you know?
in
It's great.
between all that, right? You got a huge fight card on Saturday starting at 4
Yeah,
p.m.
you'll move into the second round of the tournament and the fights.
The fights. So we're talking
Yeah.
not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday.
Yeah,
There's
a week from Saturday, the
it's gonna
second
be a
round of the NCAA tournament, too.
huge fight card starting from London, starting at 4 p.m. So you're going to be here at DraftKings Casino Queen. I believe there's no cover because of that, right? Because of the basketball and the fights going on at
Yep.
the same time. I believe there's no cover. Come on down here. What a great place to watch the fights and basketball. What are you doing, Sad? What are you doing?
I'm going to be
Thursday
watching a
through
lot
Sunday?
of basketball, that's for sure.
Any wagers going
I'll
to be
be
happening?
delving into a little bit of the fights. I'm learning about the fight game.
It's
know?
fun because Micah
Yeah,
Mills
I
is
know.
spot on, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Micah Mills is absolutely spot on. If you get
Yeah,
a chance-
Micah's great. Mike, you start talking to Micah about fights, you know what this guy's talking about in the first 20 seconds of talking to him.
Yeah.
It's like talking to a doctor when he starts talking about all these medical terms. You're like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but you sound like you know what you're talking about. So we'll go with it, Doc.
Well, I tell you what, we got him betting. We got him betting on the fights, and I had a discussion with Mike, and I want to tell you, he is so knowledgeable, and his picks are doing so well. I told him, I said, do you invest your money? And I know this is a game we're talking, but seriously, do you invest your money? Why wouldn't you want to invest in your own research?
Absolutely.
Right? We talked to Mike Whistler about golf. He invests in his own research. He spends so much time that, I invest in my own research with horse racing. You invest in your research with whatever sport is going on that evening. So, I mean, but Micah has actually started to wager on his own picks. And I think that's great because he's so knowledgeable and so good at it. And we're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waiting on Noah Van Bree to call in, and we're hoping he joins us today because he's got some insight coming up with going on with Selection Sunday and some basketball. But if he doesn't, we'll catch him either tomorrow on 590 The Fan or next week for sure. Yeah, waiting on Noah. Just we're trying this call-in process, John.
Yeah.
It's a little scary when David plays producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Jeff Crawford here, sitting over here in the corner, and he's kind of playing little social media and producer Jeff this
Yeah.
evening.
We need all the helping hands
So
we can get when Russell's
when
not
our
here.
stream paused this evening, that was producer Jeff.
We need all the help we can get when Russell's not here.
No, right? Jeff's doing a great job, and
Oh, yeah.
Russell's fantastic, but he has sometimes he has other commitments, and he believes in us to make it through now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've got it down to about half of Russell now.
I wouldn't say that.
I think we're about half as good as Russell.
If the stream doesn't shut down, we've done a good job. If you can hear us and you can kind of see us, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're definitely getting better every week. And here at DraftKings Casino Queen on Thursdays from 6 to 8. Next week, big tournament once again, 10 to noon. And I don't know but the week after. We'll keep you guys up to date. Pretty exciting stuff, though. I think we might have to stay the day next week. I think we might have to
Uh,
stay the day.
yeah, for the first round of the tournament.
First round of the tournament. Can't wait to hopefully get Noah on because he's going to be live in Denver at one of the locations where the tournament's going to be, and he's going to do a live segment from Denver. And we don't know what games are being played there yet. Let's talk a little bit about Selection Sunday. What happens? And that's the times they make the seeds, right?
Yeah, so all your conference tournaments are going to get in. Whoever wins your conference tournaments, and that's what's so great about the way they do college basketball is everybody's going to have a chance with those conference tournaments. You got a 9 seed that's going to have a chance to get into a conference tournament. You know, their record's 9-24, 9-23 or something, but they're going to have a shot. You know, that's what's so great about it.
All right, hey, we have Noah Van Brie on the line. Let's check in. Noah, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. What's going on?
All right, let me say try that. What's going on? So great to hear your voice, my friend. And I was just telling John and everybody about your win rate last year was uh, off the charts. So I want to know if the mojo, you're feeling the mojo, getting ready for selection. We're talking about Selection Sunday and
Right,
starting.
right.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts going into Selection Sunday?
Well, my thoughts are this is one of the strangest college basketball seasons I can remember for a lot of reasons, but it's also my favorite for those same reasons. I mean, I I've been watching college basketball consistently for probably 10 years now, and this is the season where I think there are the most teams that could win the title. And I don't think that because there's that many good teams. I think because none of the teams quite have it all together, with the exception of a few. But it's just super exciting because there's so many teams that could win it this year, and so many teams that could collapse. So it's just kind of wide open, which is always exciting. But we've seen a ton of late game collapses this year. More than I can remember, just teams up by 20 in the second half and just collapsing. So, that happens in March Madness anyways. The magic, the excitement. So I think it's going to be extra crazy this year.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about. I want you to talk about your trip to Denver and
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so me and my friend back in January were like, we always love watching March Madness. We have a little bracket competition between ourselves. And he lives in Denver, and we realized that, the first round is there. So bought tickets. I'm flying out to go see those games. And we don't know what games we have yet. Obviously, the teams haven't been selected, but we don't even know the time frame. We just get like a little 2-game window. So I think right now, like, it's like Baylor State are projected in our window, so we could see a lot of good teams, but it's going to be like a 7-10 matchup, and then like a 2-5, and then maybe a 3-14. I can't remember, but hopefully primed for some upsets.
Yeah, upsets. But we had a few last year. I know. Remember I can't remember the game that you picked. 11.5 point dog, right? And you said take the points, and I said something crazy like bet them outright. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, that was on St. Mary's versus Gonzaga last year.
I like that, John.
Yeah, St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Hey, Gonzaga's running through folks the last couple of weeks, though. They are running through the world.
One of the top offenses in the country, according to Ken Pom, and they're coming together at the right time.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, if I fill out, I like to fill out multiple brackets. If you're going to be in a big bracket pool, you need as many lives as you can get in this tournament. If you need 9 lives, fill them out. So I like to fill out a bunch of brackets. If I'm in one where it's a big pool, there might be 4,000 or 5,000 for the prize pool at a $20 entry. Give me 5 brackets. I'll send 100 in to win 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I might have to do a Gonzaga bracket depending on how it shakes out, Noah.
All right. Speaking of teams that can win, John, can you pull up what DraftKings has as the odds board on the prices to win? I know that Houston's still number one, correct?
Yeah.
And they're 6.5 to 1. We're gonna pull up the odds. I know you're driving right now, so let's give us some teams that you think of any kind of value. Mine's Marquette, and I think they were 30 to 1 last week, and that's what I put my money on last week. Give us, I mean, Earl Barron. I'll give Earl Barron a couple weeks ago. Gave like the top 2, and you really liked Houston. But I want something of value, and I know you got something in there. And I'm going to read you these. Give me a team, and I'll tell you the price, and then we'll go from there.
Well, David, your Marquette future looked a little shaky today against St. John's.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
But
I had St. John's in the
really
points,
like what
by the
Shaka
way,
Smart has done
Noah.
with that team. I think him leaving Texas was beneficial for both programs, as it turns out. And yeah, Shaka Smart took VCU to that 2011 Final Four, so you never know. He could have another magic run in him. But I think my favorite to win this year, and it's kind of a boring pick, I think Kansas is the most well-rounded team. I like their game the most. They're the best team in the best conference. They've looked shaky at times on the road, but their guard play is just fantastic, and I think that's going to propel them really far. So I like for them to repeat.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite team.
So Houston has gone down to 5.5 to 1, and Kansas has gone up to 8 to 1. So little value with 8 to 1, you think?
I think so. I'm not real big on Houston. I never have been. I just don't think there's enough of a sample size against in the American Athletic Conference. It seems like they kind of let up on some of those games and just coast, and it's hard to get a real sense of how good the team truly is. And I think they're just a little bit overvalued at the spot they're in. They're a terrific team. They play fantastic defense. I don't think they have the offense to get it done.
Okay. All right, John. I'm going to let you take the lead here because you guys are the college basketball guys. And I kind of want to know, I know you got some questions for Noah, so hit it off.
Let's talk a little bit of sleepers. Let's talk some 12s, some 13s, some 14s, or even the 15 seed that wins a little bit.
I love it.
What do you think Iona's going to be in there? I think with Ryder out now, by the way, Noah, me and the Ryder Moving Company have won some games this year. I've been on the Ryder trucks. I've been on the bandwagon of Ryder.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry. He's got toothpaste.
Colgate. Colgate's for real.
He's got toothpaste sticks.
Colgate.
A lot of toothpaste sticks going on here.
The favorite toothpaste company.
Yeah.
They are for real. They're going to run through it. Vermont's going to run through their conference. And I think with Ryder out now, I think Iona and Rick Pitino they're just moving right now. They're just running through that conference. So what do you think Iona's going to be at? What seed do you think they're going to get?
I guess right around like a 13, 14.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a 13 or 14. I would think. I don't think the committee's going to put them at a 12.
No, I
would put them at a 12 the way they're playing now, but I don't think the committee's going to.
No, I think they'll be put right around a 13 if I had to pick a number. Wouldn't be surprised at a 14 though.
And this team should have lost their conference championship game 2 nights ago, I believe, to Wilmington. But Charleston, who survived the Wilmington scare, is moving right along at 30-3. Noah.
Yeah, so a lot of people, I saw a lot of things on Twitter like, if they lose, it's ridiculous. They're 30-3. They should get an at-large bid. I mean, you got to look at the strength of schedule. I think they were like 311th out of 363 in SOS, according to Ken Palm. That number might not be exactly right, but yeah, 30 wins is impressive, but you're not really playing anybody. And obviously, you win the conference tournament, you don't have to worry about it. But I think if they would have lost that game, I do not think they would have been in. I think they would have fallen right outside the bubble. But yeah, Charleston's a really good team, and I think they need some matchups. I think if they could match up against a team that doesn't have a dominant big man, they could win some games in this tournament.
Do you think they're going to be a 12 at all?
Say that again?
Do you think Charleston's going to get a 12 seed at all?
That's kind of around where I think a 12 seed. They could definitely knock off a 5. If they run into a team that just has a good presence down low, they're going to struggle a bit. But if they run into like a guard heavy team, they have a chance to pull an upset. Sure,
I think Charleston's just as good as, let's say, these bubble teams like a Rutgers or a Michigan or these Arizona State, these bubble teams. I'd put Charleston right up there with them.
Yeah, I think, especially in terms of the top mid-majors, Charleston has to be considered. You know, the shocking thing to me is, speaking about mid majors and bubble, the collapse from Nevada. They were looking like they were picking up steam, and now they're probably sitting right on the line. So that's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Nevada.
Yeah, no, I mean it reminds me of what Rick Barnes goes through every year with Steve Alford.
Hey, Noah, how many times last year did we talk about Rick Barnes?
Right.
The
Yeah, Steve
Rick
Alford's the
Barnes
same
curse
way
is a
with
real thing, and
Nevada.
it cannot
So
be understated.
Yeah,
yeah,
we I think that was part of our handicapping process, right?
right. Yep, it was.
That was a lot of fun.
yeah. Nevada is a team they play really well at home. You just get them on neutral sites or away from home, and they're not as good. And then for some reason, Steve Alford just has these great starts and these great Januaries and just fades a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I would have thought Nevada would have been able to get a bid in that conference, but they're on the outside looking in. Another team that's going to be interesting that I think is going to win Conference USA is North Texas. Now, this is a team that scores. What do they score a game? They score 63 points a game, Noah. They're 340th in the country in scoring, but they're 25-6.
I mean, they're called the Mean Green for a reason.
The
They
Mean
clamped down on
Green
teams.
of North Texas. Yeah, exactly. They're an interesting team. I mean, they're 25-6. They score, they struggle to break 60. So they're going to be an interesting seed. I think they're going to get in. They'll roll La Tech tonight. So if they get in, I'd put them around a 14 seed, maybe. You think that's probably?
They kind of give me Villanova vibes a little bit. Kind of
Sure.
like just the joke all year for me was if you're playing Villanova, if you can score 70, you're going to win the game. Kind of a similar situation here. If you can put up points against North Texas, you're going to win. But yeah, hopefully they run into if they do win their Conference USA tournament. Hopefully they can run into a team like Rutgers or Maryland that kind of struggles to put up points, and it can be a close game.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Villanova, that's who gave Houston fits last year in the Elite Eight. When Villanova beat Houston, the score at halftime was 46 points. It was like 22-24. And that's my problem with Houston, David, is I think they're going to get in that rock fight game where they don't have a guy that they can go to get 3 or 4 buckets in a row.
That's exactly it. Yeah, last year it was crazy. They were like one of 20 from 3-point range or something like that. Was that the game?
Yep.
I believe. Yep. Yeah. If they, I mean, like we're talking about a team that lost at home to Temple this year. And I get it. Everyone can have a bad game, but if when they get to the Elite Eight and they're facing the Big 12 teams and the Arizonas, the UCLA, stuff like that. If you're not right on your game, you're going to get bounced.
Real
and
quick,
I think at some point Houston's getting bounced.
hey, before I forget to ask you, I would love to have some of your picks, or all of your picks, or any of your picks this year, and I wondered if you're going to be able to get those to us.
Absolutely. If you shoot me a text asking for picks, I'll send them over.
And then you mind if we can post them online for you? Okay. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, after last year, we had a lot of fun doing our show. We did it 4 or 5 days a week throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, we did it. I think we did Saturdays too. Or I think it was Monday through Friday.
Yeah, well, we also did a Sunday show when we came back from Oakland. We had to drive back through the middle of the night, get to the studio in the morning to do a show, and that was a bunch of fun. I'm hoping that you can find a way to join us throughout the tournament. I'm sure you can, and we'll figure out a time, whether it be on the radio or here live at DraftKings. But I'm looking forward to finding out when you're going to be able to join us from Denver. That's going to be a bunch of fun.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what games you're going to get to see. That's I mean, it's like a lottery,
It is.
Let me ask you your thoughts. Let's go to the Big 12 real quick. I was high on TCU. They had some injuries. They had a player quit the team recently, as late as today, I heard this morning. Big man quit the team. But,
I saw. I think that was yesterday. Eddie Lampkin stepped away.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with an injury all season, but
yeah. I'm pretty high on TCU. I think they can make a run. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Elite Eight, depending on who they match up with.
What kind of price can we get on them, John?
I bet TCU's. I'm going to guess 20-1. Let me look here.
Any value there, Noah?
I'd say so. They're a very good defensive team, and you need that more than anything. And then they got Damian Blow, who's heating up. You got Mike Miles Jr. You got guys that can put the ball in the basket. So those guys get hot. The defense stays sharp. That's a team that can easily make an Elite Eight run.
Yeah, I still have I'm not the most educated with college basketball, but I got my eye. I've been saying Marquette for the last 4 weeks, and I think I have to stick with them at this point. I mean, maybe a little wager on Kansas tonight after we get done with the show. Might be a little wager on Kansas because if Noah's telling me 8-1 and John likes him a little bit, it can't hurt. 8-1's a good price.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get good odds. I mean, Kansas 8-1, of course. TCU 35-1.
35-1. Noah, that number just makes my ears perk.
Yeah, that's a good number. It's a good number.
David likes his long shots, Noah.
I do, Noah. I'm a gambler. I like the ones that, hey, you only have to hit once in a while to make some. When you hit those scores, when you hit those big scores, it's like you go through your head like, I'm going to pay this off, I'm going to pay that off, and then by the time it's over, you don't have any money left to put another bet in, and you're like, I don't need to hit it anyway.
Yep.
But I still like to hit them.
Yeah.
I still like to hit them. So little money on TCU, Marquette, and a little 8-1. But you got to be careful. If you bet too many teams, you're cutting that 8-1. You bet another team, you're cutting that to 4-1.
Yeah.
Right.
So you bet 2 more teams, you're cutting it to 2-1. Right? So you got to be careful.
Right.
Unless that's if you bet the same amount on every team. So I'm thinking maybe a little bigger wager on Kansas and a little sprinkle. I already bet Marquette, and maybe a little sprinkle on TCU. I think that's what you have to do. The lower the odds, maybe a little bigger bet. What do you think, Noah?
I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Start sprinkling.
What's that?
Just start sprinkling.
Starts. Well, you know how I like to sprinkle. And when Noah tells me, hey, they're minus 11.5, they're getting 11.5, they're getting 11.5 points, and their defense, if they play well, they could win. All I heard is, what? What did I hear, Noah?
You heard that the farm was up for sale. You put all the money on it.
I seem to have selective hearing. I take what you say, and then I hear maybe something a little bit different than what you said. But it seemed to work out. It worked out last year, so let's give it a shot. Give it a shot there. What do you got going on,
We
John?
got 146 and under, 146.5 on the Penn State-Illinois game. They're at 146 with 2 seconds. What's going on?
John's got a sweat here,
What's
Noah.
going on? 2 seconds. Don't tell me they're going to foul somebody here. If there's 2 seconds left, I got to pull this up.
All right, so
I got under 146.5.
and it's sitting on 146 with 2 seconds left.
Let me pull it. It'll take me 2 seconds to pull this up here.
I love the sweat during the show, Noah. It's fantastic.
Let's see what's going on,
John.
guys.
Who do you got in that
dang it.
TCU K-State game?
149.
All right, hold on. He's going to need a minute to.
150 now.
Yeah, it's one.
That stupid score app lied to me, David. It said it was 69-77 with
laugh.
3 seconds left, didn't it?
His animation makes me laugh.
Oh, see, this is the bad beat you take. It's 77-69, and they foul somebody with 3 seconds left.
And they're down by 8.
Why are
When
you
they do- why
fouling
do they
down
do that?
8 with 3 seconds? Just run it out once for me. I got under 146.5. They got 146, and they foul with 3 seconds left.
I'm not laughing. I'm trying not to laugh.
Oh.
Noah, this is brutal.
I did middle it though. I took over 140 for half.
Oh,
half.
well, there you go.
So
Not so bad, right?
it didn't. I didn't lose it all, but I don't hit them both. I'd have went over 140, under 146.5. I'd hit them both.
Yep.
You got to watch the apps sometime, Noah. They'll lie to you.
They do. No, the apps do lie to you.
I couldn't believe it. I look at 76-69, and then I turn the game on. It's 77-73.
I'm
Just
sorry.
couldn't believe it.
Oh, I love the energy, Noah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's you got to
Hey,
watch these apps.
Hey, Noah, what are you doing next Thursday day? Are you you got plans? You got something going on, or because if you're not, we're 10 to noon next week from DraftKings at
Yeah,
Casino
we're
Queen.
gonna do before the games start next Thursday. We're gonna do 10 to noon.
I will be in Denver, but
Oh, you're
I'm
already-
more
Oh
than
yeah,
happy to
He-
call
we
in.
knew,
Oh,
David knew
he
that.
can call in.
Yeah, we can do the
All right,
call
we
in.
start giving out some
Absolutely.
picks next Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm juiced.
All
Yeah.
right. So what's the time? What's the time? Is it the same time there?
No, Denver's what, an hour behind?
Is it
Mountain
hour
time?
behind? All right. So
Hour
are you
behind,
gonna
yep.
are you gonna be up at 9:30 in the morning?
He will be. It's the first day of the Bats game. It's the first day, David. Everybody will be up.
That's a little early. It's 2 hours
It
before the
doesn't
game.
matter if it's 6 a.m. There's, this is important.
Let's
It's
ask
once
the
a
man.
year.
Let's ask the man.
He's going to be up.
I'm
Yep.
gonna be up.
All right.
He's going to be up, David.
All right. So then we got you next week. That's very exciting. That makes we have some picks ready for us because I need to get my parlay tickets in for the day.
Yeah.
I'll have them ready.
All
Which is
right.
the shirt thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they got a thing now. You do a $20. You just place a $20 parlay. They give you a shirt. You get a DraftKings shirt for just placing a $20 parlay in the sports book.
Yeah, if you come down here
Yeah.
in person and make a $20
Just a
or
$20
greater
parlay.
parlay
You can
wager.
lose the parlay and still win the shirt.
The shirt's
At least
nice.
you'll leave with a shirt.
The shirt's nice.
Right.
You can't beat
I
it.
feel like
Yeah.
most shirts that you buy from like from those types of environments are $20 anyway. So
Yeah.
At minimum.
Yeah, it works
right?
out great. If you can lose the shirt on your back betting, and then they'll have a shirt for you when you leave. It'll be great.
Now they call it the big dance parlay. Are we not supposed to be saying March Madness because we've said it like 100 times
Well,
tonight?
some you win, some you lose, and some you wreck.
Yeah.
That's actually a quote from Dale Earnhardt, by the way.
He's got more lines than I don't know.
That was Dale Earnhardt. That's
Dale-
a true statement. 'Cause
Say
he
it
did
again.
wreck
Say
a
it-
lot.
say it
Some
again.
you win, some you lose, and some you wreck. Yeah, because he wrecked a lot of cars.
We might have wrecked a lot of.
Now,
What are
Oh,
you gonna
well.
What are you gonna do, right?
Yep,
I guess
nothing
I
you
should
can do.
find out in advance if we're allowed to say it.
Yeah,
But
this thing.
we said it on the radio last
Listen to
year.
this box score, no, on this stupid Penn State Illinois game. Penn State wins. Illinois is going home, but they score 61 points in the first half, and then they score 94 in the second half. How does that happen? How do you score 94 points in the second half? Penn State hadn't scored 80 all year. It's just
Oh.
started
incredible.
playing that NBA defense.
Yeah, they knew I had under 146.
Yeah, they wanted your money.
Yeah, well, they
So-
got it
What
because
happened?
they scored 94 in the second half.
So I wanted to tell Noah before we let him go. Earl Barron Jr. has been with us several times
Yeah,
this year,
Earl.
and I asked him a question. Earl Barron from the 2006 Miami Heat champions. So Earl has been joining us several times in the last month, and I asked him a question about how do professional college teams, whatever, get up 20 points and are not able to hold a 20-point lead in the second half or late in the game. And he gave us the breakdown of basically what happens, and John basically had said the same thing. But you talk about a lot of teams coming back from those kind of deficits, and it's as a gambler, I mean, you're counting that money when you're up 20, right? Noah?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
how-
it happens more in the NBA where you see it's a game of runs in the NBA. It'll happen some in college. but-
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, you
mean-
can look at it from a live angle if you want to make a live bet on it where, you got the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets, right? Yeah, Bobcats? No, they're
Charlotte
Hornets. They used to be Bobcats. I went to a Bobcats game about 15 years ago, but nevertheless.
Now it's the New Orleans.
New Orleans
Pelicans.
Pelicans. They used to be the Hornets, but
Yes.
I digress. But so you got the Sixers versus the Hornets. The Hornets may take a 10-point lead in the first quarter, let's say. They're not winning that game, David. So you live bet Philly, and you could do money line Philly for like even odds. Yeah, live bet is could be the way to go.
That's
on
so
NBA
new.
action.
Also, I mean, I don't know how long live betting's only been around 2-3 years, maybe.
No, live betting's
It's been
been
around a
around
long time?
15 years, maybe.
Maybe it's just really
Back
starting
on the
to come-
offshore betting sites.
Well, yeah. I'm not talking about that.
Well, be that as it may.
yeah, no, I got you. But I guess familiar with the local legal books, it's probably 2, 3, 4 years old, right?
Yeah. Well, they started live betting when they launched. From launch. So yeah, 3-4 years. That's right.
All right, Noah. Can't wait to hear when you headed Denver Wednesday.
I don't know I think I fly out like the 15th.
What's today?
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
The
a week
fifth-
from yesterday.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
9th.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Week from yesterday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, so you'll be in Wednesday night. Great. I will make contact with you at the beginning of the week. Have a great, great time, and I look forward to talking to you. We look forward to having you next week, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a happy flight,
Yeah.
and have a good bracket.
Well, I'm
good
gonna
bracket.
I'm gonna leave you with this. If you decide to bring me home a T-shirt, that would be great. Don't have to, but I'm still waiting on Clemson John's T-shirt from
I
football
got to get him.
season.
I'm gonna give it to him now. Well, I mean, yeah. See, what's gonna happen though is I give him his dang shirt, and then all of a sudden, Clemson's. We might be in the NCAA tournament. I give you this shirt, and then we lose. That's gonna be on you.
I won't believe there's a shirt till I see it.
Well, you don't think I buy shirts when I go back to Clemson, South Carolina? Come on.
It's not a question whether he buys whether he
I
buys
buy
shirts.
everybody shirts. Of course, I bought you a shirt.
It's got my name on it somewhere. All right, Noah. Listen, thank you so much for spending time with us. We'll be talking with you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, right on. All right, that was Noah Van Bree. He's fantastic. So knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's good. And we're gonna have him next
I like
Thursday.
Noah because I can talk to small schools with him.
You can.
I can
You
show
can't
the
do that
small
with me.
schools some love.
Yeah, and he does. He loves it all.
Yeah.
He's so knowledgeable,
Yeah.
especially about college basketball.
Oh yeah.
And he has the same knowledge for baseball also.
Yeah, I'm
So
surprised.
we're gonna have him on a lot.
With your long shot, your passion for long shots, there might be a 13 versus a 4 or a 14 versus a 3 that you can get in.
Well, I'm sure I'll have some
Yeah.
big numbers.
You can do a little, $5 to $10 play and turn it into, 7 to 1 or something, and parlay that with some others, and there'll be some long shots.
I'm probably gonna have a stack of tickets
yeah.
about that
yeah.
big.
Yep.
And then we'll see how many tickets I have on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm in a big bracket pool every year, so I'm excited.
But I'm sure there'll be a few wagers in between. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we got to get out of here. This has been an absolute blast here at DraftKings at Casino Queen. Tomorrow from 6 to 7, John and I will be on 590 The Fan.
Yep.
Right? And then
Yeah, we're going to break down. We're going to do conference breaks down and conference futures tomorrow, guys. It'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely getting excited about the big dance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, join us tomorrow on 590 The Fan at 6 o'clock. Also, next Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon, getting all our wagers in before the tournament starts for Clemson John.
Yep, the big March dance. Yeah,
the big March dance.
The big March dance.
Right
The big
on.
dance. Wasn't that a country song back in the day? The dance? The big dance?
That was Garth Brooks.
Oh, it was? Okay.
The
Yeah.
dance. It's just the dance.
I hope my bracket doesn't look like a sad country song. That'd be bad. But, we'll see.
All right, let's get out of here for Clemson John. Jeff Crawford on the producer stage. Love it. Evan Elder, Micah Mills earlier. My name's David Sharp. Until next week, thanks for watching.